Great Alarm Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
Folks, last year we engaged in a month-long retrospective endeavor to cover all the animated classics in Don Bluth's filmography. This month, brace yourselves as we enter into the dark middle chapter of our Bluthian journey. An adventure so dark it will scare away the sun. No character, tall or small, will be able to resist the frigid, critical reception these films have received. Before the end, you'll be a bad troll, a very bad troll. Chart a course for Planet Bob. We're diving headfirst into the second season of Bluth-Tember.
Bum,
Bum
bum,
bum
bum.
bum. Oh, Dragon, let's just rip off the band-aid. Trolling Central Park, buddy, we're doing it. Trolling Central Park. Oh boy. Thesis. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Dragon, I am so sorry about ripping into Thumbelina, man. I didn't know. I didn't know. Dragon, here's the thing. I knew that Troll in Central Park was bad, but I at least assumed it would be bad in a fun way. This isn't fun.
No, it's
This
not.
isn't fun.
See, Tiki, this is why. This is why when someone says, "Oh my God, this movie's so bad," you shouldn't have a gleeful look on your face. It's like, "Oh my God, this movie's really bad." This is what bad means, okay? Little simple lesson there for you. Bad, not good.
So, Dragon, I mean, this is like far and away. I mean, I have no idea what to expect from Pebble and the Penguin at this point, buddy. I really don't. Like, Pebble and the Penguin is so intriguing to me at this point in terms of we've been so up and down on this thing. You know what I mean? Where it's I kind of appreciate Rockadoodle more than you do. You kind of appreciate Thumbelina more than I do. But at the end of the day, they're both kind of very messy movies that do not even come close to touching Don Bluth's best work. But Dragon, you and I can agree that, oh my god, if we're doing a tier list, like, Thumbelina and Rockadoodle are like C tier, and this is like F tier.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Well, again,
oh my
I'd say
god.
Rockadoodle's D tier, but that's just me.
That's a spade.
The point being, I think, if I'm predicting things here, I think Pebble the Penguin's going to be kind of like a Thumbelina experience for you. That's my prediction, but I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, honestly, Dragon, Pebble, like, anything's going to be better than this.
I can't remember if Tim Curry's in Pebble and the Penguin. That's the difference. If he is, then we might be in for. I think it's going to be more what I got from Thumbelina, what you were expecting from this. That's kind of what I'm getting. That's my sensation on the matter.
Hopefully. Anyways, okay, here's my thing with this movie. It's like nothing happens. That's it. I'm done. Nothing happens. I don't understand how a movie can be so uneventful. Dragon, I mean, goddamn, this is right up there with the very worst animated movies I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I
it really is. It really is. I mean, I would rather watch. I mean, I can't say it's worse than some sort of like terrible knockoff thing, like a Food Fight or a Ratatouille or something like that. But I mean, Jesus Christ, this is. Oh man, this is so painfully bad.
Well, again, this isn't a direct-to-video, kids. This was released theatrically.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I mean, I would, when I think of other like bad theatrical, like let's say like off the top of my head, like Wonder Park from last year. Jesus Christ, like that's a terrible movie, but it's like a masterpiece compared to this. All right, Dragon. Oh boy, backstory.
Well, I had a thesis too, you know.
How? Okay. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Where I get to rip into it. So this is Don Bluth hitting rock bottom, without question.
He was a bad troll.
Sure. Basically, this is when Don Bluth he becomes everything he fought against at Disney. This is where he becomes everything that Disney kind of became around that kind of movie-like committee period that Disney had, after Walt Disney's death and just kind of bleeding into the 80s before things started getting interesting again. So this is the antithesis of what the medium of animation should be. This film, really, it is. It's the antithesis of everything wonderful about animation as a medium. This is straight out of the Barney generation, but on steroids. This is empty sentimentality, and I'd never put down sentimentality. But this is empty sentimentality. This is just like, hey, this is everything you see parodied. This is like, hey, we need like a really cutesy, kid cartoon like this than putting our other cartoons. I know I'm kind of vaguely ripping that off from somebody else, but it's such an apt description. It really is. This is very much a parody of a parody, and it translates. And it's empty sentimentality designed to distract young children for parents who do not care what their children watch. And I feel that to be one of the saddest things. Parents just giving up, and it's like, okay, show them something. It's like, really? You don't care? I mean, look, I get, okay, son, just to put on for the kid, but still, don't you care what your kids watch? Don't you even remotely give a crap? Don't you? Can't you be discerning at all?
Oh, Dragon, if I ever have kids, you bet your ass they are going to have a finely curated selection of animated films.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you feel bad for all parties involved with this abomination of a byproduct. It's
Dragon,
sad.
the fact that it's got Bluth's name on it, the fact that it's directed by Bluth, I mean, that's heartbreaking.
And this is what I mean. This is like the movie in which Bluth. Like, if anyone saw this movie, the only logic I can determine outside just parents just not caring at all about their kids would be, entertainment wise. Hopefully, just entertainment wise would be just again like, oh yeah, Don Bluth, he made those movies we liked before, and that's the tragedy of it all, right?
Or animation nerds like us.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying, anyone's like, oh yeah, it's like again, like it's the modern equivalent of like people saying, like either like some parents confusing Disney and Pixar for a while. Was the point being, hey, there's a stamp of quality of films we've enjoyed. Let's go watch that. Where again, there's an assumed thing in there. Of course, sometimes it leads you down darker paths if parents don't really, if people don't kind of get their studios right and don't follow that. But still, you have situations like this where, hey, Bluth, named Phase One Bluth, nothing but quality.
Mm-hmm.
Then okay, it's getting a little Xerox here in terms of quality, but that's okay. And there's okay.
Godfrey's fun.
Yeah, and then basically we completely drop off. Like, that was a Don Bluth movie. I mean, it looks kind of Bluethy, but it doesn't feel Bluth. It doesn't feel Bluthy at all, man. It's missing the Bluth touch. Instead, it's got this rotting green touch that is just rotted the film inside and out, and just left me feeling like a hollow.
Absolutely green.
So that's what I'm saying. This movie, again, just the last sentence, it's sad and utter waste of Dom DeLuise. That's my thought. That's my thesis on the movie.
Oh my god. Oh god. Yeah. It's a waste.
This is like a war crime. Wasting Dom DeLuise.
Dom DeLuise, Cloris Leachman.
Yeah, but seriously, I mean, doesn't it hurt your heart just to have Dom DeLuise put down in a manner such as this?
Yeah. All right. Let's just get into it, Dragon. Let's get into the background.
Okay, background. Not a lot, as you'd probably imagine. But so this was in production. I kind of mentioned this during the last one. This was in production along with Thumbelina, which did not help the gestation period. And there was a switcheroo, too, where this came out before Thumbelina, which, again, I think speaks to Thumbelina a little better, a little more quality put into it than this. Maybe, again, we kind of rushed one more than the other.
Dragon, I honestly think with Thumbelina, the only defining factor is that it has some characters that we can kind of be like, hey, they're fun.
That's what I'm saying. My point is, again, like Thumbelina, not great by any stretch, but not offensive. It's like, okay, that I can understand, like, parents putting on for a kid, like, not necessarily like caring in quality, but it's like, okay, this is something that's not going to scar him for life. That's going to be okay. This is like, okay, it's, dancing Gilbert Gottfried. I can dig that, okay. But I think so. It's in production with Thumbelina. So from what I understand, Troll in Central Park was finished in '92, and they kind of held on to it until it got released in '94. So they held on.
Oh dear!
Is why they had the switcheroo for Thumbelina, because again, these two in production simultaneously.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So again, point being, kind of like Thumbelina, all the films within this Don Bluth phase, there's a rushed quality to them. This was very rushed to keep things to keep things afloat financially. And that, hey, we need movies. We need to churn out these movies. So hey, we're gonna work on 2 movies simultaneously because that's the only way we can keep the lights on. So again, because of that, we have no gestation time with the story. And even Bluth has admitted this. He said there's a downside when you rush the story, and this is what we learned the hard way on Troll in Central Park.
All right, so speaking of that, let's get into the story. Let's get into the story. I'm sorry, Dragon. I can't say it with this. Let's get into the story. The story.
There is one positive thing that came out of this, though, in the background. I should mention. You're gonna love this.
Okay.
Okay, so again, there's more the horrible stuff in that we pushed the animator so hard because of the lack of story to make up for the substance, the lack of substance and everything. Okay, we got to have really good animation. You pushed them so hard, they jumped ship for Beauty and the Beast over at Disney.
Oh dear.
And you know how we paid for this movie?
How?
Did the Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera. See, something positive.
All right, so the story, Dragon. We're gonna really have to dig for diamonds in the blue stuff. So I've got like a couple observations about the initial setup with the trolls that I will save for later. But let's just say, Dragon, this should have been a 10-minute short story. The minute that Stanley arrives in Central Park and he's like, hey, look, it's perfect. It's, this is somewhere where I can be myself and the trolls don't have to worry about me. That's it. Literally, why do we need any other story beyond that? Why do the trolls care about him once he's banished?
Let me recap the film in less than 15 seconds, okay?
Okay.
Troll likes flowers, which leads to his banishment to Central Park. Reasons why, I have no idea. He meets kids, they sing, he does he gets to like some thumb wars shenanigans, and just craziness.
So are we gonna break the story down?
No, that was the story. So we're just gonna just the things that don't make sense. I figured in terms of like what's really egregious about the story.
No, but I mean, come on, you have to just kind of get into just the fact that literally nothing happens, and they're like they shouldn't even be focused on Stanley after he gets banished. It should literally just be, Stanley gets banished and that's it, and they all live happily ever after. Stanley gets to be himself, yada yada.
Technically, yeah, that's again one of the egregious things of the story right there is that again there are no stakes. There shouldn't be any stakes because okay, we ousted him. Why do the other trolls care where he's at right now?
Exactly.
It's like literally, it's like, hey, we have this random stupid thing like, oh, I hear a crying child. And like, wait, what? Why are you banished him? Why do you have this like as a cable frequency? What are you doing here? So there's that. There's the fact that
you know what it is? It's like it's very, very poorly ill-conceived Monsters Inc. logic.
I have a lot of Monsters in comparison, so I'm
gonna. Okay. Let's just get into it. Let's just get into the characters.
Okay, well, hold on. Again, I was going to tear into the story a little bit.
Okay, sorry. I feel like we're kind of like tiptoeing over each other when it comes to like stuff to talk about later. So go ahead.
Okay, well, it's as we kind of teed up a little bit of Rockadoodle earlier on. Again, I think this is much worse than Rockadoodle in that there is absolutely no story whatsoever. Where that one was just a train wreck of story. You're absolutely right. This is no story whatsoever. This
Doodle had a vibe to it too.
I mean, yeah, it was. I can see that.
Love it or hate it, love it or hate the vibe. It had a vibe. It was going for something. This is just going for lowest common denominator.
There was an attempt.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So again, it's just. Let me put it this way. Okay, here's some of the story. So again, there's this. We have this tease of True Bluth towards the end of like a True Bluth moment.
It's not gonna last. Come on.
I know that, but there's the thing. It's like we have this tease like a True Bluth moment. Then of course it's in conflict with another Bluthian philosophy that we've praised before in the story department with Bluth. Is that Bluth? Mm-hmm. He and Gary Goldman. They kind of formulate that whole ending on a happy ending, philosophy. It's like do whatever you want as long as you have a happy ending. So it's basically we have our True Bluth moment, but why the heck do we have to put them so close together?
You know what's interesting is that if they actually went full tilt with it and didn't just go with a very obvious happy ending for it, like even if it was like a little bit more ambiguous, then I feel like it would have been an interesting kind of like a mirror of the Bluth philosophy, where it's like, like hit him with as much happiness as possible, and then hit him with, kind of sucker punch him with a sad ending at the
Yeah,
end. You know what I mean?
I mean, I would have, if they really stuck with that, I might have
Uh-huh.
respected it just a
I would have
little bit,
respected it. Yeah, yeah. It wouldn't have made the last, it wouldn't have
No,
made the
no.
actual lead up to it any better, but
It would have been more noteworthy. It would have been like,
yeah,
remember when
yeah.
Bluth did that movie where he's just super like happy-go-lucky? Maybe he was saying something about the industry, and then of
Right,
course like,
right.
no, no, I'm done with that stuff moving forward. Like this is what we got to fight against in animation. This is how we do it right. No,
Exactly.
but
Oh,
again, none of that happened.
got that, man.
Yeah.
Oh god, now I just kind of feel like that one change would have just made all the difference for Bluth's legacy. It's kind of
It would.
sad.
I mean, at least people would have talked about. People would have years back would have reflected on, like, maybe he was saying something, but nope, nothing. So I mean, of course, I mean, there's a pattern within the stories of this theme month we've been doing, where again, we had no time with our lead characters, which is this bad pattern. A character liking flowers isn't enough. That's nothing. We have nothing to do with that. That, and again, the biggest problem is, before we move on here, the characters. The one big problem I gotta address here: Central Park is an embarrassing plot hole. I mean, there's plot holes that just I never thought of it, but then there's like a giant gaping like black hole of a plot hole. I mean, it's just literally Central Park, as in like even if you're not super familiar with what you're saying, which how wouldn't you want to know where you're sending them before you enact the punishment all willy nilly? But still, it's like, yeah, we're gonna send them to Central Park. And it's like literally, well, the movie's over. He's in a nice, luscious green place. And here's the even if he didn't have that, apparently he can grow anything on any substance. So what's
right.
here's the thing: is they never get away with this. But then again, if Bluth were kind of leaning in that true Bluth direction, we gotta cut off his thumb.
Oh god. Oh
Look what I
man.
did to my thumb, Charlie. That sort of thing. We didn't do any of that. I mean, believe it, Bluth would be the only one I could buy that as a plotline for. Of like the Gnorga wants to find Stanley, and like banishment wasn't enough. We got to cut off his thumb.
Yeah, and that would have actually given them
Would have
motivation to go
terrified
after
me.
him. God. All right.
But still, would have been memorable. Would have been a story, not a story.
Oh boy. All right. Let's just get right into it, Dragon.
Folks, don't blink. These next ones are going to go by like that, so just bear with us. Okay.
So Stanley, he likes flowers. So Gus. All right. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so ordinarily I love Dom DeLuise, and let me tell you folks this: if you folks hate this film as much as I think everyone does, myself, Tiki, everyone, pretty much. If you want to see the better version of the Stanley kind of character, of kind of this take on like kind of a whimsical, kind of friendly, imaginary-ish character, I direct you to Dom DeLuise's performance of Kuzi in Dexter's Lab.
Oh my god, yeah,
You
for
remember
sure.
Kuzi, right?
Oh yeah, of course,
That's what I'm saying. I looked a little bit into Kuzi because I remember, I wonder if I wanted to double check on Kuzi and had some clips available. And I was like, oh my god, yeah, that is absolutely what Stanley should have been. That's the way you get. That's a Dom DeLuise whimsical character done properly, man, and smartly too.
All right.
So, yeah.
I mean, first of all, I feel like you said, there's literally nothing for him to interact off of. It's like the cool thing about Dom DeLuise in All Dogs was, his banter with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
And here he literally has a toddler and some punk brat who refuses to admit that he even exists throughout the whole movie.
Just dumb.
Dragon, how do you make anything out of that?
It's again, even with Dom DeLuise, you can't make everything happen. All right, that's the fact is you can't just like glean. This is for anyone too. So you can't just go with, we have big names in the voice cast. That's going to do our jobs for us. No, no, the words count, folks. The words count. An oversimplification, but empirical fact. See, Stanley.
I hate the fact that we get like 2, maybe 3 songs in a row that are just basically like, come with me and I'll show you my beautiful green place.
Okay, let me tell you something about Stanley here.
Oh
Okay, so
god.
Stanley, he only I say this emphasis on the only. Stanley only has three qualities total. Okay, he likes flowers, singing, and he's scared of Gonora. Those are the three. That's all we get from him. And again, all three of them. I mean, the thing about this, he gets that one scene where he's chatting up the flowers in the opening, but if you really look at the movie, for the longest time, he's just barely. He doesn't have any interactions, no real conversations with anybody. It's like
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
he's just
that's
all
the
about
main problem.
he sings about his philosophy, and that's it. And that
Mhm.
I'm afraid of Gonora, which again, Gonora guy, it's like, well, what are we doing here? It's like here's my analogy for Stanley. We're looking back, and it's like you take Buddy the Elf from the Elf movie, but without any of the charm or empathy of like, oh, I feel so bad for this elf who has like a tough time relating to his father and no feeling an outsider, all that sort of stuff. Imagine if you zapped all of that out of there. This is like everything you feared Elf would be.
Totally, totally.
That's what Stanley
That's a
is
great
here.
analogy. Yeah.
You know, he's plus the scales. Did this bother you too with the animation?
Oh hell yeah! Oh my god, the
His
scale is all
scale
over
is
the place.
his scale's like always off. He's like shorter than the girl. Well, I don't think he should be because he's like supposed to be like a toy. And he's it's like is he? It's like we're not doing like like the DreamWorks Trolls logic.
No,
They're
it's
supposed to be.
weird. It's weird, man. I cannot get a grasp on the scale for the life of me.
That's what I'm saying. And again, I don't remotely have any feeling at all towards this thing until he quote unquote dies. What does that tell you? It's just tagging along with kids literally as like adults being dragged around practically, and there's no conversations, no moral gets expounded. He doesn't teach these kids anything. He takes them on like a stupid, whimsical boat ride, and that's it.
God, all right.
Terrible.
Okay, so Gus.
First,
I
Gus,
want to do what I want to do.
I'm going to make a very declarative statement here. And Tiki, if you can think of any, and I mean any remote, any example, by all means, I encourage you to do so, okay? Gus, in this film, by far, is the worst Gus ever.
Oh, the worst Gus ever. Okay,
Think,
okay. Oh man.
think of any Gus that is worse.
Oh god. Oh, I mean,
Any fictional Gus, any animator, fictional, or it doesn't even have to be
that's
animated, any fictional Gus ever.
that's Gus from Once Upon a Forest. Not
Okay.
worse per se, but kind of annoying. I don't know. No, I can't, dude.
That's what
I
I'm
really
saying. I think we can pretty safely say the worst fictional Gus ever.
worst fictional Gus ever. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I mean, the line "I want to do what I want to do" just really sums it up, right? It really sums it up.
Unlikable little bratty kid. He's
You know what the sad thing is, though, Dragon? Out of the two of the characters, he's by far the more tolerable of the two.
he feels he's like an inferior version of, and again the version that he's like the inferior version of Louis from We're Back.
And that is, like, not a high bar to set
That's
for
what
him.
I'm saying. Louis is already on thin ice, but this is like frozen for 70 years ice, man. This ain't good. This is like
As a matter of fact, this whole movie kind of feels like a half-baked We're Back
I
with
know,
new
right?
everything.
Because again, We're Back and skirts on the whimsy, but still delivers in places. You know, you feel it. And again,
Well, okay, I will say this. I will say this. We're Back feels way more like a Don Bluth movie than
Yeah.
this ever did.
It does.
Way more.
Absolutely.
I mean, I still rank Screw Eyes as like the most terrifying animated villain of all time for me.
Well, I mean, the point being, he is great, though. Yeah.
Oh, I think especially his demise, man. I
His
can't get over.
demise, that's what I'm saying. Those are absolutely a Bluthian moment there, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Again, even in the other moments, again, like the charm and the kind of the purpose behind We're Back. Again, you have like these dinosaurs trying to bring joy to children. It's almost like a William Joyce idea through like a Bluthian animation style. It's kind of like,
But I will be the first to admit that We're Back: A Dinosaur Story is a mess of a movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Flawed, don't get
We're
me
like
wrong.
singing praises about it compared to this.
But still, We're Back has its moments. Again, there's at least an argument to be made for We're Back. Again, still stuff that doesn't work, but again, far better attempts.
Oh god.
And
All
so
right.
anyway, so Gus, here my point is like Gus is in himself is a missed opportunity because we keep teeing up like we're going to do something with Gus and we never do because the idea is we're going to expound the moral onto Gus so he doesn't end up being a bratty kid. Which I mean it's like the whole he could be a delightful troll, which of course we turn him into it, but we physicalize him. We don't. There's no lead up. There's no commentary on it. It's just like okay, just turn into a troll for a bit and that's it.
I just don't know, man. I mean, like I said, I think out of the two kids, he carries all the weight because literally I feel like Rosie is, oh, we'll get to her. I have things to
And
say.
it's don't why I don't buy this kid bringing his baby sister with him when he's sneaking out. Like, why would he do that? Why
That
would
made no sense. That was just entirely plot
That's what I'm
convenience.
saying. Like, there's no. It's just we need to get from point A to point B. We need a little girl in a red wagon, so let's just do it. I like it.
That's about it. All right. Rosie, Dragon, unequivocally, this might be the worst, like, toddler character ever.
So this is the Don Bluth cutesy trope on
Oh my
steroids,
god.
much to its detriment. That's what Rosie is.
Dragon,
Basically,
this is just ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's how did anyone think that this was gonna work?
okay. Do you want to hear how ridiculous this is?
Tell me.
They miss the point entirely of, and again, it's like it's wide open. We kind of tee it up, and we set it up, and yet again, we do nothing with it because that would be a story which we're allergic to in this movie. Again, instead of an analogy to flowers, we're allergic to story. It's that we miss the point of. I can't believe I'm looking for a story point in this movie. Just bear with me. Stanley, in his little flower garden in the opening of the movie, he's saving a space for, I believe, a Rosie Posey.
Huh.
So later in the movie, he meets a little girl named Rosie. We do nothing with this except
Nope.
he giggles and laughs, and that's the closest thing we get to a payoff on that.
You're
No
absolutely
mention of it,
right.
but again, that's half. That's all. That's like they missed the point of
It's
why
like,
they even
oh,
have
Rosie, I like that name. Art complete.
just nothing. Just yeah. And again, I've seen. Let me give you an example. But again, folks, I mean, I know we keep going with the comparisons, but this movie has given us nothing, so we gotta. So, limit. I've seen kid characters done with limited dialogue a lot better than this kid.
Oh, I know what you're gonna go to. Say it. Say
Rise of
it.
the Guardians.
Rise of the Guardians. That is not at all what I thought
I
you were gonna
know it's
go
not. I'm
to.
just saying that's what I was going for. You were thinking Ducky, weren't you?
Well, no, I was thinking Boo.
Well, okay, I was going to make a point about Boo, but not as yes. That I was going to get to that later. But all
No,
right.
I mean Ducky is. Oh God, I mean Ducky is just not even in the same.
Okay, well, since you brought Boo up, let me get to my Monsters Inc. point because you
Okay.
brought. I was going to get to Boo, but that wasn't the analogy. Okay, so here's the thing. So in Monsters Inc., when they were doing the movie, they really they kind of agonized over how old should we make Boo because how old you
Uh-huh.
make the kid is a big story point. Like how dependent on the main character on Sullivan is Boo. Like if she's like really young, like she ends up being in the movie, okay, that's why she's being dragged around, and hence we can do things with her if you know if there's actually a relationship you care about forging within that film, which we do not have here. And
No.
here, I feel they made a mistake in which it was like we went too young without thinking about it, without thinking of the ramifications. Where okay, she's limited in dialogue and she can only do so much, and basically
I
she's
don't even know why you would think that Ducky is limited in dialogue, to tell you the truth.
well, I'm thinking. You made me think. I thought you were going for the yup thing. I don't know. But anyway,
Yep is a
I
catchphrase. What are you
know. All right,
talking
I
about?
was looking for what you were searching for. All
All
right.
right. Anyways.
My point is, so here's what I was. Here's the comparison I was going for. So remember Rise of the Guardians? Remember the baby sister in Rise of the Guardians?
Yes, vaguely.
Sophie. The point being, Sophie has the exact same speech range as
Sure.
Rose, where
Sure.
she's like hop hop hop. She just like repeats a word a couple times, and but again, like just like the moments that kind of words that kind of come to her, very identical to Rose. Yet we made that work because again, you cared about the relationships and like the little cutesy moments. Again,
And also in that movie, there's more than just one character for her to bounce off of. It's that movie is an ensemble movie.
Too. Again, it's the reactions on the kid. The kid is a character in that movie versus like a plot convenience. Or like, okay, we need to entertain the crying child. That's all we do here. And again, the young kid, they didn't think about they didn't ask the smart questions like a Monsters Inc. with a boo. Like, how young do we make her before it's a detriment of the story? No, we rush. We need a kid. Okay, young kid. Okay, pretty much baby toddler. Put her in a wagon. Okay.
Yeah, all right. So Queen Gennora, I mean, I feel like we already kind of said a lot about her just by talking about her weird motivations.
So Cloris Leachman, I'm not thrilled always with Cloris Leachman's roles. I do like her. Young Frankenstein is phenomenal. I love her in Young Frankenstein. She's fantastic in that. And she's a great actress. This is one of those times where I'm not crazy about her roles.
Yeah.
This was not a good choice for Cloris Leachman. I mean, I'll give her points here. She's definitely having fun with it. Why is beyond me. She's having fun with it.
I mean, at least she sticks around through the whole movie, unlike Charo.
Yep.
I don't know, dude. Like I said, the motivations kill this character. I mean, like you said, she's having some fun with it. It's a good kind of like, just very generic evil queen bad guy person, but
yeah, the lack of story cripples this character without question. Again, kind of all these lingering, why Central Park? Why not just turn him into stone? I mean, I know the husband's making a plea for him, but it doesn't make much sense. Why she would go along with it if we've kind of set her up as this sort of character? It's like we do too much to ugly her up we do a lot of ugly her up comedy. It's like, okay, she's putting all icky, and that was a gross sequence, too. She's putting all these warts on her and doing the lipstick, and it's like she's ugling her up and she's singing. That's all she does in the movie, just for the heck of it. And again, she's all about cruelty and ugliness, and just because. Like, we don't know. Here's the thing. Again, another story point here with Gnorga of it all is that we're lacking the why and the point. Because again, if this movie were making an attempt, and I'm not saying this would fix everything, but an attempt at a story. Trolls don't like flowers, presumably because Gnorga doesn't like flowers. Why does Gnorga not like flowers? Perhaps, if I'm just spitballing here, perhaps because her whole thing is about cruelty and ugliness. I mean, perhaps it's that she was raised and that trolls are supposed to be gross, ugly, and these bridge dweller guys. Therefore, we're the antithesis of the flowers. Again, we're lacking all the development of a Monsters Inc. world, if you will. We're lacking all the logistical questions of why in the world building, because they're figuring we're only going to be in the troll world for the opening sequence, so we don't need to ask these questions.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to worry about it. And she favors the boy. We don't see anything come of that. She turns him into a troll. That's all. There. Right. It's like I'm thinking. Yeah, like did this make any sense to you? I know the answer is no. Please go along with me. Here's that. She favors the boy. I'm gonna make him cry a sea of tears. Well, you just said you like that kid. What are you doing?
Again, Dragon, I feel like it's just very, very backwards, like Monsters Inc. logic, where it's like, the logic I feel like is somehow the tears of children get power the troll kingdom.
Nope.
Just nope.
Nope.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. Lastly, Lort. I gotta be honest. I think the only thing that kind of works in the movie.
Is that why you saved him for last? I was wondering why you saved him for last.
Well, it was that. I mean, it was either that or splice him with Gnorga. But I figured, I don't know. He's kind of de facto the best part. So Lort.
His design really reminds me of the dad from Onward.
Yeah, it definitely has a bit of a of a Wilden. So yeah,
he just conceptually he works. He's basically like a less memorable version of Killer. Charles Nelson Riley, kind of same type of role.
And again, I'm all for bringing back Dom DeLuise and Charles Nelson Riley, but again, at least Charles Nelson Riley's in character. At least he's solid enough. I mean, I get what they were going for with this guy versus all these lingering questions that everybody else. It's like, okay, at least
exactly. With this guy, it's just like, okay, he wants to placate his wife. He's like, it's the classic like ball and chain gag. You know what I mean?
It's the cowering husband comedy.
Right.
It's okay. It's not great. It's okay. It's a pass.
All right.
It just doesn't play like it should because again, he's acting to Gnorga, which again is ill-defined. We have no development on Gnorga's side of things, therefore he's lifting up as much as he can. So de facto, he's the most interesting character, but that's not saying much.
All right, so that'll lead into Diamonds in the Blue, where
Grab the industrial shovel, Stig. The sifters, we're going to be going through a lot of Bluth.
Oh God. I mean, like you said, Lort is at the very least the most defined character in the movie, and he works, I guess, for what they're trying to do with him. I feel like some of the backgrounds in the Troll Kingdom are really cool.
Sure.
Okay, here's what I got in terms of the Troll Kingdom, like as a concept. Dragon, I feel like if you dig deep enough, you could look at this movie as like, I don't know if you want to call it like an LGBT story or what, but I feel like there's something there in terms of the fact that the trolls are suppressing Stanley's inner identity and they're suppressing, what he really loves. And it's all about like the movie is kind of like on a very, very, very surface level, it's a very anti-conformity kind of like fly your own freak flag high kind of movie. You know what I mean?
I concur in that it's an outsider story there. Like basically, you can apply it to anything. Anyone who feels like an outsider for any number of reasons.
Right,
And it's
right. It's kind of like why the song Reflections, hits so hard with so many people. You know what I mean?
Sure, and that's the thing. It's basically the potential.
I'm not saying that this is Reflections. I'm just saying it's.
People are going to write angry letters now with me to bring Reflections. But again, we're bringing up a lot of good movies as point of example here, like Monsters Inc. and stuff. So
I'm just saying Reflection is a good way to do, kind of like a universal outsider sort of story moment.
Sure.
This is a terrible way to do it.
So I concur in that the potential of a pitch on paper is a troll who is an outsider from his own kind finds friends and purpose in New York. That's a movie on paper that might bear some. That's like, what is Bluth thinking? He's thinking of that pitch. I think he's thinking of that pitch.
Sure.
And then he gets busy with the business side of things, and that distracts from the creative Don Bluth that we all know and love from that first first number of movies, 4 or 5 movies from the beginning.
And then, like I said, Dragon, I feel like this movie was one sad ending away from being something conceptually interesting.
Yep.
Like we already kind of outlined.
Yep. All right. So, okay, here's the diamonds I found, and again, these are like not even diamonds; these are like chippings of diamonds. It's possible. Right. Okay. The soft pedal dance. It's nice and simple.
Sure, why not?
I kind of mentioned a few of these already. DeLuise and Charles Nelson Riley. I mean, hey, they're in the movie. I mentioned the potential of the pitch already. Music in places, again, a little overblown and ill-placed with scenes, but I mean, hey, it's not bad in places, right? Yeah. And yes, Stanley being turned into stone until he came back was effective.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so final thoughts. I mean, just to wrap things up, man, this movie is just, I so hope that The Pebble and the Penguin isn't as bad as this.
I don't think it can get any worse than this, Tiki. I don't know.
Oh man, I mean, like, my expectations for this whole theme month has just brought me through the ringer because, basically, folks, what we outlined with Bluth-Tember is that we're starting and ending with movies that I'm familiar with. I was familiar with Rockadoodle, and I'm familiar with Titan AE. But Thumbelina, this, and Pebble and the Penguin, I just simply never watched. They were blank spots in my Bluth resume. So this whole journey has just been such a downward trajectory of like going from Thumbelina, which is like, well, that doesn't really feel like Bluth. It kind of feels like generic Disney to like, oh god, this isn't anything. Oh man, I wish this was generic Disney. So nothing can be as bad as this, Dragon. I'm honestly kind of excited for Pebble and the Penguin just on the very basis that it's like, all right, let's see how Bluth can kind of like, dig himself out of the hole that he's found himself in. All right, final thoughts?
Final thoughts for me. This is the film that truly marred the name Don Bluth for many years. For a lot of people, I think it's it's proof that Don Bluth, the creative, is invaluable, but the businessman, Don Bluth, the businessman, deeply flawed. It's like if if he's still to be parallel to Walt Disney, as he was, again, very much the Walt wannabe, as his moniker was way back when. If he's still to be comparable, I think one could say, it could still be said that he's still fitting the moniker there. Where again, Walt, between Walt and Roy Disney. Roy Disney was the businessman. Walt was the creative. Again, Walt Disney, he made the gambles and the folly, the infamous folly stuff. I think maybe a little bit that kind of a little connected on Bluth there around this phase, perhaps. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mistake to make a movie just to keep the lights on. I think if we learn anything from this month, it's that. When there's no passion, especially when there's no passion or follow through behind it, that's the biggest crime that I think cursed this movie. It's films like this hurt the credibility of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Absolutely.
this thing, it's terrible. It's not good.
All right. Well, folks, we've made it through another one of Don Bluth's movie-making misfires. Join us next time as we brave more films from the dark side of the Bluth on yet another harrowing installment of Bluth-Tember. Sing it with me, Dragon. I'm a bad troll.
A very bad troll.